Hey y'all, it's Renegayde, and I hope you're ready to spill some more reality as we get into the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 9, as we are on the official eve of the competition. Let's get into things right away and introduce our legendary legend, beautiful benefactresses who will be kicking with us tonight through all of the stars, styles, and spectacles of episode 10, Lip Sync Lollapalooza Smackdown. Well, let's welcome our weekly co-commentator right away as he's just won his 100th straight lip sync. It's QuackrrJack. Jack, how are you doing tonight?
Girl, I'm doing so well. I love to see queens breaking records and really coming out on top.
I mean, this episode for me felt like it was just kind of like a lip sync coronation, one way or another, for our winner that ultimately took the crown here at the end of the night. And I'm very excited to get into our lip syncs here. But before we do so, let's also welcome back to the podcast a girlie who had no badges and then all of a sudden she ended up with three of them. It's Whiskers. Whisk, how are you doing tonight?
Yes, Queen, Skinny Legend, Versace, Boost, The House Down, Slay Queen, Hunty Mama, and Oop Daddy Work, Charlie XCX, Snatch My Wig. I'm back. Hi.
What in the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
I came prepared.
I
I don't know. I
was
had to
gonna
come back with a
say.
vengeance.
I was supposed to say, tell me you had that written down for a couple weeks now.
Oh, I did. I have the lyrics pulled up. So, is it lyrics? I don't know. It's a
Lyric?
tweet.
So there's
Hey, we love it. We love it. Well, Liz, I'm glad to have you back here. And before we get into our lip sync smackdown tonight, I want to hear from you and give you a little bit of a chance to go back from the tea from the last couple of weeks that you weren't here for. Is there anything you want to talk about the Rusic Design Challenge, the Rusical, or anything else in between? As far as I think we've had a lot of other drama outside of this, as far as people's hygienes or some other inside tea that Chanel dropped with the what was it, Roscoe's last week. What do you want to talk about?
I'd love to talk about the Rusical a little bit. I think that was probably my favorite challenge of the season so far, and I think it was one of the best Rusicals ever. Everybody did pretty well across the board. Not pretty well. Everybody did really well. I thought there was no stinkers, no duds. Um, Jorgeous, I think, rightfully was in the top two. I think some people were a little underrated, maybe like Gottmik. That might be a controversial one. I don't know. Some people were a little overrated, maybe, but everybody did great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a really good musical, but I have to say, did you get anything from the plot? Because I'm still confused.
No, I didn't get anything from the plot this episode either. Like, very little. I mean, besides who's going to win the season, probably no.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of feels like we've kind of been wrapping up the storylines. Like I kind of said this last week, but it feels like this week especially, it didn't feel like there was any storylines at all whatsoever. And everything that we did have here was kind of wrapped up, I'd say, in a pretty neat bow by the end of the end of the episode here. So much so to the point where I honestly don't even remember really much what happened the first 20 minutes of the episode, other than they were like talking about, getting ready for the Lollapalooza and whatnot. Jack, was there anything that stood out to you pre-Lollapalooza that you wanted to talk about here? Because, like I said, I have a big fat empty spot here on my list for this portion.
the only thing that I thought was funny was that Nina is still in her strategy mode, and she's talking about like how she can't stand that Chanel gave Jorgeous a badge to give her four because that doesn't make sense, and how like all these things are bad. And I thought that was just funny because I'm like, you gave Roxxxy a badge early, but like I guess the
Could
tables have
we
turned there.
could we
And
forgive her though,
then
since it was only episode 3 when she did hers, or episode 4 versus like
I think
last
I
episode?
think like both of them make sense because they both did it for emotional reasons. Like Nina did it for Roxy because Roxy helped her actually get a look on the runway, which she wasn't going to have without that. And Chanel getting a badge to Georgia because Georgia said that she was the only girl who said she was going to give Chanel the badge, so it kind of makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
like, I mean, after that, we got the funny like Roxy Vanjie short storyline. It was like they did less and they weren't even together as long as Amethyst and Robin Fierce, and their storyline only made the show since they basically didn't make the show themselves. And so this storyline, I was like, is this just a show that Vanjie hooks up with everyone or tries to?
Yeah, that actually, well, I was gonna say it shocked me, but then I'm like, no, I don't know if I'm really that shocked by it. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, just because they wear wigs, they're all gays. We know what we do. We a bunch of hoes. So I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
not
look at the
surprised.
ending. And
Um,
then I don't know, Angeria and George just brings up that Angeria blocks people during lip syncs, and I was like, oh. And I thought it was funny because she's like, oh no, I don't. Like I don't do that. But then she was like, I get in front of you, but if you let me block you, that's on you. And I was like, wait a damn minute, what? So, but
Angeria is the
I just
queen of
thought it
the
was funny that
hypocrisy.
Georges was the one that said it.
Well, anybody would walk Gorgeous walking in front of her because she's so tiny. So
Yeah, I was like, I mean, you are small, but I was also like, I mean, Angeria does do that, and she is kind of known for that. And she's like, I would never, and everyone else in the room was like, all right, okay, we ain't gonna go there today.
I do have to still ask here, Whiskers, because obviously we know we declared teams a few episodes ago here. I believe you were Team Angeria initially. Are you still Team Angeria here, or has this changed at all?
I mean, I was team Angeria for the content, I think. I love Angeria still. I think she's a great entertainer. But I wouldn't say I necessarily have an allegiance to her at this point anymore. I'm just here for the entertainment and to be entertained by all.
Likely story here. Well,
Wahahaha.
well, let's just go ahead and get to the Lollapaloozas tonight, because tonight's tournament, as they set up here, was for one badge apiece, and we learned here that each of the top two will be getting one. So no surprise gimmicks here, no buffoonery, no shenanigans, just one badge apiece. So that was kind of nice. Um, the thing for me was the fact that they decided to have a nostalgic twist to this whole Lollapalooza by including a whole bunch of songs that I'm sure they already have the rights to, that they've already performed on prior seasons here. And I kind of feel like for me, just this is a side before we kind of get into the actual songs and whatnot. I'm not sure how I feel about them picking and reusing so many songs here. I kind of feel like to some degree, like each, especially in the first few seasons, like each lip sync, even if it's terrible, you could still associate it with that song. Like "I Will Survive," like will always be associated to that double elimination. Like as sad as I want to say it with Britney and "Oops," will always be associated with the double elimination. Like there's just certain songs that are associated with certain things that I feel like when you have multiple performances of the same song, kind of ruins the novelty a little bit. Whiskers, do you have anything against them reusing lip sync songs here?
Well, first of all, I will survive being a double elimination and an iconic double elimination. Just the comedy layers of that, love that. But I don't know. I kind of have a different opinion than you. When they announced that it was going to be all like iconic songs for the lip syncs, I was kind of excited. Because I mean I knew they would only choose basically good songs and like ones that have been successful. So when that was mentioned, I was pretty excited. I knew we were going to get holding out for a hero and stuff like that, and when we did, I was not too disappointed with the song selection.
I wouldn't say I was disappointed with the song selection, but I think there's just certain moments that feel a little less iconic when you take like a song that's already been performed kind of well, like when they reused Black Velvet again. I'm
I
like, how
get
are you
that.
gonna
Yeah, totally.
reuse Jujubee's song? Like, how are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's rude. Um, Jack, do you have any thoughts on the matter here?
Okay, so I think it's perfectly fine to reuse a song as long as there's been some time between it. Like, for example, I think My Lovin', but that was used tonight by In Vogue or whatever. Like, that was season 2 when that happened. We've had like 30 seasons of US if you count like All Stars and all the other like franchise and stuff. At least we've had like years of Drag Race. We've had over a decade of Drag Race since that song has been used, I believe, or at least from its original time. So I'm cool with a lot of these songs happening. Plus, I think tonight's roster really made it possible for anyone to actually come out on top, minus one or two queens who maybe aren't known for their lip syncing at all, which in that case, it's not the song's fault, it's just them. So, What you
I
gonna
was
do?
gonna say it felt like we kind of flashed back to like season three, season four with these songs here. So it's kind of like I love the old schoolness of it, but at the same time though too, like you said there, if you are a stunt queen, if you are a trick stunt queen, whatever, there's one song on this list here for you. The rest of them, you have to feel your inner Mistress Bell Brooks, and you can't go full Jax. And I think to some degree that might have been maybe the theme of what they were trying to do tonight, to show that lip syncs just aren't entirely all about just doing death drops. And I didn't mind it to some degree. I mean, we got some great performances tonight. I don't know if any of them necessarily. Well, actually, I think a few of them I'll probably remember a lot more than the original one that happened here. So I think they did a good job of maybe not picking songs that are well known for their lip syncs on the show as much. But yeah, I'm of two worlds here. I don't mind it based on the result we got here. I just hope they don't make this a running trend here where we get multiple new lip sync songs here because there's plenty of other songs out there that need to be performed here. So, um, anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and we'll start the lip sync Lollapalooza. And as things started out here, it turns out that Gottmik got the first pick, and for some reason decides to pick Angeria when Nina is literally 2 feet away from her. Angeria gets choice of song, picks My Lovin' Never Gonna Get It by In Vogue, and gotta say, side note, love this song. Um, this is like one of my songs from my childhood that I remember a lot because my dad played the fuck out of it. Still can't get over the fact listening to like a straight man singing this song to you. It's hilarious. Anyway, so this song obviously was iconic, as Jack pointed out earlier, as the iconic lip sync that uh, Raven, I believe, slaughtered Nicole Page Brooks to in season two. Um,
Correct.
and
Correct.
despite Angeria, being the favorite all around here, and I think there might be some other differing opinions here, I actually liked Gottmik in this performance. I thought she actually started out really well in trying to play into the sexy thing as much as she could. But I think that it got to a point maybe like halfway through it where you kind of started to really see maybe like some doubt set in or just something just kind of came off because it felt like there's like a switch flipped in her head where she's like, maybe I'm not going to win this. And it just felt like she kind of stopped trying as hard and kind of, just kind of coasted to the end. So I do agree here that Angeria won this lip sync. Jack, what are your thoughts here on the first lip sync here?
I put down a note for each of these songs on my sheet or whatever, and the one note I had here, just like one word, I said embarrassing. So one thing I want to note before I get into this is it could be different than what we saw, but it seemed like we didn't get to see what the songs were until after she got to pick and she picked Angeria. And had she maybe known what the songs were before she picked Angeria, like maybe that would have changed things here. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt until I hear otherwise. But it kind of felt like as soon as we heard the songs after Angeria was picked by Gottmik, it was like over because we just knew that Angeria had a couple songs that she could do that Gottmik just could not do. And my issue with Gottmik here and why I said embarrassing was like it felt like she was on like 15% through most of the song. And I just wasn't understanding what she was trying to do. And it kind of felt like she was trying to go with like low energy, like cry voice, like I'm doing this again. And I was like, okay, so that is a style that you can bring, but into this song, like, is almost to the point of disrespectful. But I was just like, this is like, it's hard to watch because I commend Gottmik for trying to pick someone that is good competition and stuff. And if she could have beaten Angeria in a lip sync, it would have been big for her, right? But unfortunately, it was hard to watch, and it wasn't even close. It was like a slaughter.
Yeah, I don't think it was a slaughter, but yeah, I do think what you were saying here was kind of right. Like I'm listening, I hear Tyra Banks in my head here because it felt like there was part of her that didn't believe in her performance here. And you know what, as Tyra says, if you don't believe in yourself, how am I supposed to believe in you? Whiskers, did you have any thoughts here on the Gottmik versus Angeria lip sync tonight?
I believed in Gottmik, and I don't get the critique about the Fry voice. But no, I thought it was an odd choice for Gottmik to pick Angie when, like you said, Nina was standing right there. Maybe you'd think she'd even pick Shannel like over Angeria. I don't know. Like there were better options for Gottmik to pick. And I feel like she definitely would have known what songs were on the table, right? Because they have like a set playlist for all the songs of the season. But I feel like they would tell them like these are the 6 songs that are happening for the Lollapalooza. I don't know. So I feel like there had to be some knowledge there, and the knowledge was not used in Gottmik's case. I don't know. The dots just did not connect at all. But the lip sync, I thought it was good. It was better than I was expecting it to be, which I don't know if that's a compliment, but I meant it as a compliment because I did somewhat enjoy it, and I thought it was kind of close. Angeria definitely won, um, but there were moments where it was kind of going back and forth. I thought, but I think Gottmik did well, but I think Angeria did a little bit better.
Yeah. I guess I agree with that. I think I agree with that completely. That I was feeling Gottmik. I thought she looked the best, or one of the two best tonight. Had one of my favorite outfits, so at least she looked good.
Woo,
But you're
Gottmik
right.
always looks good though.
Yeah,
woo,
I mean, yeah, true, agreed. But I just wanted to
woo.
point that out since there wasn't very many
True.
style going on tonight. So
Oh,
at
also,
least
can
she
I
looked okay.
say
Never
I
mind.
am also disappointed with this song because it is such an iconic lip sync song with Raven. I was kind of the whole time hoping for somebody to do like a little almost Raven tribute and do the pointing to the girls at the back of the stage thing. I don't know. I just feel like that's the most iconic moment in the song, and I would have liked to have seen that reference, but I understand why they might not have done it.
I wouldn't have even minded someone taking out their fake booby pad and brushing their nose off with it with their makeup like
The
Raven did.
makeup, yeah,
Would have been perfect. Would have been perfect. But
so many good moments.
that's what I'm saying though, is like there's iconic moments you cannot like change. And I think we're comparing it to that lip sync. And I don't want to have to compare them to that, and I don't think it's fair to either party, to the people that performed it before or the people that are performing it now. But at least we could say Raven still has her iconic spot here. So, yeah. So first round here, Angie moves on. Gottmik is eliminated, and that takes us to lip sync number 2, which starts us off with Vanjie getting the choice for the lip sync song. And again, too, for me, I gasped when she did not pick Mina. She like picks Plastique, and I was like, oh my god, girl, what? Which initially I was kind of like, yeah, initially was confused, but now I'm kind of like thinking again. I'm like, wait, Plastique's never won a lip sync this whole season. Not because she can't lip sync, but because I feel like the judges just don't want her to win a lip sync. And Vanjie does have a point that it does seem more than likely that Plastique would pick the song that Vanjie would want. And it's true. She picks When I Grow Up by Pussycat Dolls, which was actually the most performed song on this list here. I forgot it was not only performed in season 5 with Coco and Monica Beverly Hills, but it was also performed in season 13 in that stupid opener lip sync twist that they did with, I believe, Denali and Lala Ree, when Denali had to do the lip sync in her skates, which I still think was completely
Mm,
unsafe and crazy and don't understand why they let her do
yeah,
that.
that's
But,
wild.
you know, um, Whiskers, what were your thoughts here on this list?
I so the choice, at least if we're going by their choice, Vanjie got like the playing chess not checkers kind of edit. Vanjie was like the one making the power moves, with the like mind manipulation for I'm gonna pick the person that's gonna pick the song that I want, and it kind of worked for her in both cases. But this one, I get her choice because yeah, Plastique hasn't won a lip sync, but I think she was definitely like just thinking, okay, Plastique and I both want the same song. Let's just do it. Let's perform it, and I'll just outperform her. And I think, as far as the performance, I don't. I guess Vanjie outperformed Plastique, but I thought this one was pretty even. Um, I didn't think it was an outstanding lip sync. But I think I just personally was pulling for Plastique a little bit more because I really just want her to win a lip sync and get some money for her charity because it's been 5 lip syncs at this point. But so I don't know. I was a little surprised that they didn't have Plastique win, but I don't know. Maybe next episode we'll get some build up. I feel like she's got to win something at some point, right? At least the money
Mm,
for the charity. She's won challenges, but I don't know. I just feel like on a charity season, everybody's got to win a little bit of something. But
I would hope so.
we will see.
I would really hope so. Going this long without a win, that's just oof. That's worse than
Right.
Jimbo. Even Jimbo want to fucking lip sync at this point. And maybe she
And
should
she's done
bust
so
out
much
some
better than
baloney.
Jimbo in lip syncs too. Might I add?
Oh,
She's
for
like not a
sure.
bad lip syncer.
Absolutely. Actually, for me personally, I kind of thought Plastique won the lip sync between the two of them, honestly. I think you were right. I was probably more hyped up last night when I watched it, mostly because I was kind of probably coming down from all the wine I was drinking. But like, I was hyped initially the first time I saw it, and then I kind of rewatched it again today, and I don't think I was as excited for it as I initially was, like, going into it. Plastic kind of, I think they both kind of got stuck in a lot of the same moves over and over again that they were kind of just, repeating a lot. Like Plastic kept doing this thing where she kept dropping down to one knee and like waving her, doing like the Jorgeous wave in front of her face. And Vanjie kept doing the thing where she would like shake her head back and forth really quick and like walk all sassy and stuff. And I was like, it was fun, like it was good, but like I don't know. There was definitely something missing overall from the lip sync here. And I personally, for me, Plastique lost the lip sync in the first 3 seconds when she took off her coat immediately when the song started. I hate it when girls do not do good reveal. Like you literally have that jacket on for a reason, girl. Like wear it for a little bit and take it off in the midway point. Don't take it off right away. Like that's performance 101. Like, why? SD, why? Um, otherwise, I think, I don't know. Vanjie, sure, she could win. It's fine. Jack, did you have any thoughts here?
I think it's so interesting that we all have like kind of differing opinions about this because like I have a very different opinion than both of you, I guess, here. Where I was like, okay, a couple things. I don't think Plastic necessarily lost in the first 3 seconds. Do I think the coat reveal was too soon? 1000%. I agree with you 100% there. I don't think that made her lose the lip sync, though. I do think she lost because she didn't know exactly what to focus on in the song, but it was a fun lip sync to see. It just wasn't, when someone like captivates you and you are drawn to them and they command the stage. I don't think either of them necessarily completely did that, but I think Vanjie clearly won this lip sync without a shadow of a doubt, just based on the fact that like we saw her strutting, we saw her giving us like all the body yada yada and like showing us like, bitch, I am that girl. Like a song like When I Grow Up is literally just about being like, let me show you why I'm the next big thing. Like I am that girl. And I felt that energy from Vanjie the whole time. And I loved a lot of the moves that Plastique did. I just didn't feel like they really resonated with the song as much as it was just more like a funny haha or like, ooh, look what I could do kind of moment. And I think it gives you this like idea of like you can't just do and perform a song. You have to like embrace the song if you want to win these lip syncs, especially against like the best of the best kind of people, right? On an all-star season. And I feel like Vanjie really connected with this song here, and I think she was so smart to pick Plastique because she specifically said she didn't want to pick like Nina or Shannel because she wants a song that's not going to be specifically like the song that gets played next. You spin me around. She wanted any of these like other songs basically, and it worked out well for her.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there. Vanjie definitely did have a lot more attitude than sass there. So, between the two, sure, I guess you could say she embodied it more. Her ass looked good too. So, go Vanjie. She gets
True.
her win and moves on. And fortunately, another amazing look is sent back into the workroom tonight. So sadly, Plastique fifth lip sync and still no win. Maybe one day, probably not because there's only one more episode, but maybe. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to lip sync number 3 for the night, where Nina gets picked next, and she selects Shannel, who picks "You Spin Me Round" by Dead or Alive, which I think the last time we saw it here was All Stars 4, I want to say, with Trinity versus Latrice. So it's kind of, I want to say, probably the new one of the newer songs that they've had here on the list. Well, I won't say newer, more recently performed songs that they've had on the list here. Jack, what were your thoughts on this lip sync between Shannel and Nina?
So so I think we knew that this was the song that Nina wanted. And on top of Chanel probably being the only person who was going to pick this song, let's be real, Nina has the least amount of chance of winning a lip sync. And the people left right now are literally Roxxxy and Jorgeous, who are considered to be the top two lip syncers, probably by everyone in the room. So she's not going to pick either of them, no matter what, because she wants to win money for her charity. It's her goal. She wants to redeem herself. I don't think she does like a terrible job because I can't get rid of the images that I saw during her first lip sync of the season. I actually was kind of nervous for Shannel for a second because I enjoyed Chanel's like, this is my like, I'm commanding you, you're gonna look at me. But Nina was really giving us a lot of characters, and I was like, Nina's not actually doing so bad. And I felt her reveal wasn't that clunky as much as all her other reveals pretty much have been. So I was like, okay. And the fact that Nina does these characters while she lip syncs, I wasn't sure if the judges were going to pick, her over animatedness of it. But, Shannel gets the win. And I agree. I think Shannel won this lip sync. I wasn't sure how the judge panel was going to look at it. But, like, Shannel looked great in the fringe. Great outfit choice for her.
Yeah, I agree with you too. Going into this lip sync, I kind of actually thought Nina definitely had the upper hand here. This seemed like it was absolutely in Nina's wheelhouse. And I do think this was her best lip sync that she's ever had on the show, for sure. Bar wasn't that high, if I could be honest, though. But, I'm glad to see her on her way up here, even if she was looking like, a hot doo-doo clown mess. But
Ooh,
her campiness definitely fit the song a lot. But, um, you're right. The Chanel has a very unique way of just a very old school, where it's all about facial expressions. It's all about like body, the tension in the face and in the neck, and then just like you could tell she's really in her mind singing the song. So I was all here for everything Chanel was doing. She was giving me very Megami-esque arc here in this episode. And you're right. I loved her in the Fringe too. I thought she looked really good. It was just an all around a great lip sync for Chanel and a great way for her to start the night. Um, and Nina was there too. Whiskers, what were your thoughts here on the lip sync here?
I loved this lip sync. I thought it was a great one. Like you said, it was one of Nina's best, I guess, but Nina isn't really the highlight for me. I did think her outfit was fun. And I did expect actually even a little bit better for I like she did fine, but I expected her to do a little bit better. It didn't feel like she had as much emotion in the song as Chanel did. Chanel really sold it for me. And it was just like classic drag. Like, I mean, it's a song from the 1980s, I think. So it's perfect for like that campiness, but Chanel was very serious about it too, and like really giving us like the lyrics, and really selling it. And I think it was one of the best delivered lip syncs of the night from Chanel. I thought Chanel clearly won. It was one of the clearest wins in my opinion out of the night. Um, Even though Nina didn't do poorly, it wasn't my favorite lip sync of the night. All this sounds like I'm really hyping it up a lot. I thought it was great, but yeah, Chanel really sold it for me. Nina was fine, but I was very impressed with Chanel.
Absolutely. Sounds like we were all kind of on the same page here that Chanel killed it. So hopefully Chanel Christmas invite soon, please. Thank you. Anyway. On to our final lip sync of the first round of matchups here. And Georges and Roxy are left over. They are the quintessential Anitra and Sasha Colby that nobody wanted to lip sync against. And Roxy gets to choose the song and decides to pay tribute to her drag grandmother and drag mother by choosing Holding Out for a Hero. And this was last performed when Aja slayed the fuck out of Kimora Black, looking let's not talk about the way Aja looked during that lip sync. As bad as she looked, that was how great she
damn.
performed. Anyway, Aja wasn't here tonight, so we'll move on. Anyway, let me just say, I don't even think I even remember Jorgeous was there. Like when I did pay attention to Jorgeous, it just felt like Jorgeous was just very struggling. It felt very much so. Roxy's like, I'm picking this song because Jorgeous is gonna have no fucking clue how to perform to it, and I absolutely correct. I was not really featuring Jorgeous here at all. Roxy though, oh my fucking god, that hairography, just everything that she was doing, just is so captivating and just so powerful, and just your attention just goes to her. She's just so just. There was one moment in particular that I will live rent free, I think, in my head for the next couple weeks. And it was after the moment where she dropped to the ground and she looked up and her hair was in her face and she was still singing all dramatically to the camera. It's like, oh my god, Roxy, this is this is it. This is why you have never lost lip sync. Like this is just so fucking good. Whiskers, what were your thoughts here on the Jorgeous versus Roxy lip sync?
I mean, there was no way this lip sync was ever gonna disappoint me. With this song, this is like maybe my favorite lip sync song that exists in the world, and part of that reason is because one of like just the most iconic like introductions to drag that I had in my life was on YouTube, a really old grainy YouTube video, probably one of the first years YouTube was out, of Tandy Amon Dupree. I had to look up her name, but I think she's since passed, so RIP. But it's called like best most iconic drag queen entrance ever on YouTube, and it's this queen. She drops. It's like in some pageant, and she drops from the ceiling into a split at the beginning of the song, and it's so iconic.
Yes, seen that clip.
Yes, okay. We know it. We know it. Go watch it if anybody's listening and doesn't know what I'm talking about. You will not be disappointed. It's called Best Drag. What is it? Best Drag Queen Entrance Ever. It's on YouTube. But this it's just such an iconic song. It's such a drag song. I was entertained. I think this was my favorite lip sync of the night. I don't know if it was necessarily just because of the overall performances or the song, but Roxy killed it. Jorgeous is always going to do well on the lip sync, but like you said, the moment that I remember that's stuck in my head is when Roxy looked up and had the hair in her face, and usually that's like portrayed as a negative, but she really sold it, and that added to the emotion. And just this is one of the few like storylines we got in this episode as well, with Roxy, how she dedicated the song to her drag mom and her drag grandmother, and it had so much meaning to her, and you could really feel that in her delivery. So I think this was my favorite one of the night.
I think I agree. This is definitely. I need to do my official list in my head. This one's definitely up there. Jack, what were your thoughts on this lip sync?
Oh my gosh. Once again, Miss Roxy does not disappoint. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that she wins this lip sync. The only people who I think really thought that Jorgeous had any kind of chance here were probably, the girls looking for the stunts and the gags and whatnot. But any of the songs left, Holding Out for a Hero, I'm Every Woman, Groove is in the Heart, like none of these songs, I I don't see a world in which Jorgeous wins any of these songs against Roxxxy Andrews if Roxxxy Andrews just plays like if she just does what she does best. Like Roxxxy Andrews is a performer. At the end of the day, she is not just some girl that you're gonna see anywhere. Like Roxxxy Andrews is a household name at this point for a reason, and she proved it here to us tonight. This was one of the strongest showings of a lip sync assassin we have ever seen. And at first, I want to let you know, I said the same thing about Sasha Colby and Anitra kind of thing, but I have to be honest. I don't think the that lip sync was as close as that one. So I don't think it's like a great comparison anymore because it really was like a mile apart. Like I'm not saying Jorgeous did bad, but your eyes were not on Jorgeous, and that's just like when we would look over at Jorgeous, we were like, okay, let me just like cover that part of the screen so I can just see Roxy more. Like and Jorgeous wasn't doing a terrible job. It's just she was just doing high energy, and I was like, at first I was like, oh, she's giving us some high energy when it was like the start of the do 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 do. I was like, okay, we're gonna get it, and then it's like, oh no, Jorgeous, you can't be like that high energy the whole time because you have to like have those ups and downs, and it wasn't there for her. And Roxy just there were so many moments. You remember when she was Swiffer on the floor with her wig? I was like, holy shit! Like
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
Rox,
part. That was
Roxy
amazing.
just delivering. The girls were
Amazing.
going crazy backstage, and they knew it. And well done, well deserved win. Assassin takes out Assassin. Great first round for everyone.
Okay, so this was the one where she did that. Okay, yeah, this would be my favorite of the night, like for sure, absolutely. Um, but yeah, you're right. It wasn't just because it was like a close matchup, like Anitra versus Sasha. It was because Roxxxy just dominated it, start to finish, just amazing. So yeah, we get to our second round here, and that leaves Vanjie, Shannel, Roxxxy, and Angeria, and Vanjie gets picked to select her next lip sync partner next. She chooses to go against Shannel, and hold up, my notes just went down. They choose another old school song, of course. Here, Shaka Khan's "I'm Every Woman," and this was performed back in season 6 with the great Trinity K. Bonet versus April Carrion, and I still remember that moment where she, to the music, did the fan, the foof, and they had the sound effect of her opening the
Oh,
fan up.
I can read your thoughts right now.
Yeah. Could reach it. That's right. Yeah. So good. So good. I don't know if this one was as iconic to me as that was, just because I mean I love Trinity K. Bonet. She's one of my favorite lip syncers by far. Um, and I don't know if for me that they did up to Trinity's status here, but I do think Chanel did a very, very great job here. Vanjie for me was kind of just giving me more of the same kind of sass that she was giving in the first lip sync. Again, like it was good for the first song. I could justify it the first time. I don't know if I could justify it the second time here. Chanel for me was just clearly much more into the song. She was very much so emoting it, and I felt it from her. She was a clear winner to me. And on top of that, here, Chanel officially gets her second win and her third badge of the competition as a result of winning this lip sync. Which, how rude that they literally wait till 2 episodes before this damn season is over to give this woman her flowers. How dare they? How dare they do that to Chanel? So rude. Jack, what are your thoughts here on the Chanel versus Vanjie lip sync?
So Vanjie picking Chanel, I thought was a very interesting choice because if I were her, I would have picked Angeria for sure. And not because I think Vanjie needs to pick like the easiest person to beat or something like that, because I'm not saying Angeria is either, but at this point there aren't any bad lip syncers left, right? Like even the people have always been sleeping on Chanel, like especially these last two songs, I'm Every Woman and Groove is in the Heart. I'm really happy she picked Chanel because we got the Roxxxy Andrews lip sync that everyone's been looking forward to. But Vanjie picking Chanel, it's like she's gonna do I'm Every Woman, and Chanel ate Vanjie up. She earned that badge. She showed us why she was here. I mean, do I feel like Chanel's win last week was like the most correct choice? Not really, but like, am I glad that Chanel's getting her flowers? Yeah, there were other weeks where a lot of other people I didn't think necessarily were in the top for me, so it's fine. But Chanel ate this up. She earned that badge. Vanjie doesn't know how to do the like older songs. Like When I Grew Up was the most like I think the most recent song that came out on this list of songs. I'm almost positive, and it was clear that that was like Vanjie's go-to, and she was not going to be able to do these other two songs. So you know, good on
Um,
Chanel.
she tried. She tried. That's all we could ask for. Oh, Whiskers, what were your thoughts here of the Chanel versus Vanjie lip sync?
Yeah, Chanel was great. She was every woman. She earned her badge and it really delivered. It felt somewhat similar to the other song, but I mean, how can it not with that like emotional performance? Like has you captured by every word, which I love. Like that's not a bad critique. But yeah, she sold the song so much more than Vanjie did. I think it was another one. Both of Chanel's wins in these first two rounds, I think, were very clearly her win, like very comprehensive. Whereas a lot of the other lip syncs, like maybe there could be arguments to be made for the other person winning, but this one I don't think there's much of an argument. It was Chanel all day, and I'm glad that she's getting badges towards the end. I mean, they made a big thing out of a couple episodes ago of Rue saying that anybody was still in the race, so maybe Chanel comes out of nowhere and makes the top three here. I don't know. I don't think she'll win the whole season, even if she does, but I'm happy for her that she's finally getting some recognition and being told that she's beautiful.
I would love nothing more for Chanel to somehow end up in the finale after this. I'm just saying this whole time. She ain't gonna win. She ain't gonna win. Not because she can't win. She doesn't. Not she doesn't have it in her. It's just they've been so rude to her. This whole mistreatment of Chanel needs to be a YouTube video at some point here, unless they decide to just give her all the
Oh, it
shit
will
at the
be,
very
I'm
end.
sure.
Then like okay, then we can take that away. But like, what a storyline though. Like I kind of hope that for whatever reason Chanel ends up kind of coming through whatever this last episode is. So yeah, so great job again for second lip sync for Chanel, and then we get into what was I think probably the storyline moment maybe of the season. Not necessarily like the most iconic lip sync I want to say, but Angeria and Roxxxy obviously have been coming at each other this whole season. One snips, the other snips back. The other snips to the other one, then they snip each other back. Like it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They flip flopping with these scissors, okay? They doing what Jorgeous and Gottmik do with their real estate. Anyway, um, I was actually very into this lip sync. I thought it was very good because you had two kind of different styles. Because Angeria kind of has her, more soul style, and Roxy is just Roxy feels every song. Like there's no song that Roxy cannot perform here, and um, I think for me, when it comes down to it in the end, I think they definitely made the right decision here because although I was I'd say between her last opponent when she was facing Georges, where I did look at her, I was paying attention to Angie. I really was, but my eyes kept creeping back to Roxy. She just is always is just stealing the focus, and it's just I feel like I said tonight felt like the emphasis is lip syncing is not just about stunts. It's about lip syncing your lips and what you're doing with your face and the emotions and feeling the song. And it was just I'm just so happy that Roxy won this because it was just so good. Again, no complaints. She ate that shit up. Jack, any thoughts on the Roxy versus Angeria final battle showdown?
Not necessarily final battle just yet,
Okay,
but
semi-final battle
might
showdown.
be. Yeah, in my opinion, was the final battle showdown. I don't know if it'll be because you never know. Maybe they both make it to the top three, and who knows. But I think this song really showed. Like, I know you said Angeria was more soulful. I kind of actually got the soulfulness from Roxy, and I felt like Angeria was doing a little bit more fun camp kind of during it. She had a couple camp moments that I was like, "Oh, this is fun." But like you said, my eyes kept going back to Roxy. I was like, "Oh, I need to go watch Roxy though." Like, this is funny, Angeria, but Roxy's right there, and like, bitch, I'm in the front row of the Roxy concert. Like, please, this is the Roxy meet and greet, so I'm gonna be there now. So goodbye. Roxy gave us everything. She's giving us life. This was a very fun lip sync though. Roxy easily wins her second lip sync, but I don't think Angeria did a bad job, and I think that like I want to give the kudos and the congrats to Angeria because it was not a bad lip sync at all. It just she was going up against one of the most professional lip syncers RuPaul's Drag Race has ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, 5 badges, eight. At this point, 8 lip syncs won. Insanity.
Not oh yeah, at this
9.
point.
At this
Well,
point.
at this point.
Yeah, at
Oh,
this point,
sorry.
eight.
Spoiler
Spoilers.
alert.
Spoilers. Wow,
I
you
mean,
ruined the whole episode, and the
We'll
podcast is
cut that out in
ruined.
post.
It's
It's
ended.
fine.
No,
yeah,
we won't.
cut it out, edit it.
Um,
We won't.
what were your thoughts here on the Angie versus Whisk lip sync?
Angie versus Whisk. Get me up there.
Whatever, Roxy.
Groove is in the
Whisk
heart.
with 3 S's.
Okay. It was a great lip sync, obviously. And I forgot to mention in the last lip sync, Roxy and Angie were starting to get into it. They were kind of like playing the backup dancers. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. But I would like for the first part of the Vanjie versus Shannel lip sync, I was just watching Roxy and Angie in the back doing like the 1-2 step with each other. But they were getting into it beforehand. But this was a good lip sync. I think it kind of switched places for me. Like right out the gate, I was surprised and I was like, oh my god, is Angie gonna maybe take this? Because she had me, but it was only for about like the first maybe 15-20 seconds. And then Roxy did some hair flip kind of thing, I'm sure, or something. And I was just sold by Roxxxy for the rest of the lip sync. It was like the classic Roxxxy Andrews experience, and I enjoyed being there and being able to watch it. It was great. I feel like it was a pretty comprehensive victory in the end for Roxxxy. Angie held her own, but I thought it was definitely a clear win for Roxxxy. But fun lip sync. I enjoyed watching it.
Absolutely, it was fun. Absolutely. And yeah, like I said, Roxy gets officially at this point her eighth win in her Drag Race history of lip syncs. Has never been defeated, and also her fifth badge, which officially makes her the official lone frontrunner, up ahead with 5 badges. Um, kind of insane at that point. So, very excited for Miss Roxy to take her spot up at the top officially in the competition once again. This brings us all to one final lip sync for the charity money as Roxy and Shannel face off to Break Free by Ariana Grande, the lip sync that Jaden Dior Fierce notably sent home Miss Candy Ho, which, if y'all don't remember, Candy Ho was on season 7. She was under edited. She's basically the Purple Kelly of Drag Race. There you go, there's your history lesson. Um, Honestly, I kind of think going into this lip sync song, Chanel was already at a disadvantage. Not to say that she didn't do a great job here. She did a very good job, but I think this is slightly outside her wheelhouse because you have to be able to also, I think, maybe do a little bit more. This isn't just kind of like planting yourself in one spot and giving some commanding, facial expressions and arm movements and things like that. We got to dance a little bit more here too. And Roxy wiped the floor with Chanel. There's just no, there's just no contest here. Roxy again for me for this lip sync. She literally went to the buffet. She ate everything and left no fucking crumbs here. She devoured this episode here for me. Just so captivating, and just the part at the end, especially where the dun 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 dun, when she was doing the hair flips to it, especially with the way that the lighting and shit was working in the background to her advantage there. There's no contest here. Roxy is by far, without a doubt, one of the best lip syncers that has ever come from this show. Without a doubt. Fight me on it. Whiskers, what are your thoughts here on our final lip sync of the night?
I was a little surprised when it was this song. I mean, it's an iconic song, and it's actually one of my favorite lip syncs of all time. Fun little fact: Jaden Dior Fierce versus Candy Ho. Jaden Dior Fierce is one of my favorite lip syncers of all time as well. But especially that performance, she was in like the orange ripped up prison jumpsuit, a horrible look, but just absolutely turned a lip sync in front of Ariana Grande as well. But it was one of those things, like I think you mentioned earlier, Renegade, where it's you have, at least for me, I have this lip sync like ingrained in my mind, the old one. So it's like always going to be hard for it to top that. Um, and I don't think this one between Chanel and Roxy topped it for me, but that's okay. I mean, it didn't really matter at this point. I just feel like the general feeling was that Roxy was going to win. I like Chanel's lip sync look here, that dramatic coat. I was like, okay, come on, Chanel. And I thought maybe she could turn it more with that. But I mean, yeah, there's no competing with Roxxxy Andrews in a lip sync. I say that I like the old one better, but I mean, this was still a fantastic lip sync, especially from Roxy, and really capped off her overall performance throughout the night and throughout the season. I think this was her crowning moment, essentially.
I have a very hard time not picturing Roxy winning after this episode. I can't, I can't see it. I feel like any other option at this point, I don't think I'd be happy with. But Jack, I know you have some words here. Tell us all your thoughts here on our final lip sync of the night.
Oh my god, why would make you think I have words? Roxy's the winner easily. 5 motherfucking badges. This queen did not come to play. Like, she's telling you girls, she's been telling you girls from the get. Like, she knows we love her. Baby. That's why Rue brought her here. Like, come on. We were excited. We were overjoyed when Roxy was in another lip sync because we were eating good tonight. We were like, good lip syncs. We're not going to get some of those bad ones we've had all season. Let's not lie. This season, a lot of people have been talking about like been some pretty rough lip syncs this season. Tonight gave us what we were missing for a while. I'm not saying that there have been only bad lip syncs this season, but Miss Roxxxy, gave us a little nibble here and there to keep us from starving. I think one of the greatest lip syncs she has ever performed was tonight. And the cameraman, we sent multiple cameramen to the hospital tonight trying to keep up with all the whiplash she was giving them, with all the necks. Those cameramen were trying to keep up. I think we had. I think we had several cameramen go into the ICU just for broken neck syndrome. Like we were, it's crazy. The choreography, everything, amazing. Roxy kills it, easily wins herself the money for the charity. I'm really excited. I really want her to win this money for this charity too, because I really think that her picking such a local charity and stuff really means there's a good chance of all this money going to a good place. And so I'm super excited for her, and I think it's a way overdue that she has earned a crown anyways. I said it before and I'll say it again. Roxy earned her crown in season 5 to begin with. I didn't think she needed to prove anything else to anyone, but here she is blessing our TV screens once again, and I think it's time that we get that winner. If Roxxxy Andrews is not the winner of this All Star season, it's gonna feel like there was no point. The only other outcome I see is a double crowning with her and Plastique, honestly, because Plastique's been killing it in the competitions and also been one of the most consistent drag queens this season as far as all the challenges are combined.
That's an interesting point you make there, Jack, because as we end tonight, we learn at the end of this episode that our next episode will be our official competition episode, our last competition episode. I thought it was going to be tonight and they would have decided and then they would have done something differently for the finale. No, they're going into this finale deciding that everybody has a chance to possibly make this finale. And just to kind of run over badges here again, Roxy, I think, is pretty locked in for this finale, sitting here with 5 badges. Depending on what buffoonery they decide to, if they decide to go Mario Party and give out 80 fucking badges at the finale to like 3 people, okay, Roxy could be in trouble. If it's only a top 2, I think Roxy is pretty locked into this finale here. Everybody else, though, sitting on a bubble. And I would hate to be Jorgeous and Plastique sitting here with 4 badges, killing it throughout. Well, Plastique's case killing it throughout the
Uh,
competition. George is killing it throughout the latter half, the last 3 episodes or 4 episodes. Um, and it would suck, I think, for them, or at least it would definitely suck for Plastique to get this far and to get edged out because somebody gets 3 badges at the talent show, which I get the feeling is probably going to happen because, I mean, obviously the rest of these numbers here, Angeria and Shannel are sitting at 3 badges, Gottmik, Nina, and Vanjie are at 2. So for everybody, technically, to have any sort of shot at this finale, they're going to have to give away 3 badges. So we could literally be seeing a finale here with, what, Nina, Roxy, and Vanjie, just based off of the fact that Nina and Vanjie somehow win the last lip sync, or sorry, the last talent show, which honestly would kind of ruin my experience. I don't expect anybody who makes that kind of late game change to actually have a shot to win the crown, but I personally wouldn't really like to see that there. Jack, what are your thoughts here on everything as we get into our final 2 episodes and our last official competition episode for badges next week?
what makes me nervous is we saw them pull out the old lipstick voting right then at the end in the like previews for next episode. And something that I still think could happen is like either a steal of like a badge, or maybe like you throw out someone's badge, or someone is voted to get another badge kind of thing. Like it's really weird here because if we have Roxxxy Andrews go into this and not get top 3, I don't see a way in hell that anyone's going to be accepted in this season. So it makes me nervous because, if anyone can win at this point, how many badges are they planning on giving away? Or maybe they're allowing the girls to steal badges or take away. I don't know. It's a very sticky situation because how could it be that any girl could still end up there? Uh, we saw it on All Star 7, and in that case, it's very different because that season, the judging is so bad the whole time that it's just, I mean, it was more like they were making up for an issue that like, they had created the whole season. This season, the judging hasn't been perfect, but I don't see I don't see enough of a contrast in the judging to really change up too many of the positions. Like maybe we'll see Roxxxy in the end with two other people, and maybe neither of them are Plastique. But at this point, I feel like Plastique should be locked. And honestly, like I can't see a world where anyone else wins this season. So I'm not sure what they would do because at this point, Jorgeous can't win the season. No, like regardless of what she does. Gottmik could come back up and make the top three. Angeria could make the top three. Vanjie could, or Nina could, I guess. But like none of them are going to win. Shannel winning at the end, no one's going to believe that. But her making it to top three, definitely a possibility. I mean, there aren't people to win this season right now. So I think the twist will be fun. But I think we've kind of got it locked where we know like it's got to be between Roxxxy and one other person.
I mean, I want to say that I think you're right, Jack, and I do believe that we're probably on the right track here, but it's Drag Race. Who the fuck knows what they're probably gonna pull out of their ass here? Like we've seen countless more injustices, even just this year. Marina Summers, sorry. So like
Don't say
they
sorry
could
for something
be
that's true.
horrible if they absolutely wanted to. Whiskers, I'm gonna give you the final word for tonight here. What are your thoughts as we head into next week's talent show? As there's only two more episodes left of this season.
Only two left. I struggle to just after this whole season see anybody else in the top three besides Roxy, Plastique, and Angie. I feel like that's just where the storyline has gone, kind of the Roxy versus Angie, and then Plastique being kind of the other one that's just having these amazing looks and turning it, but just not winning any lip syncs, and like that I think means that she's not going to win the crown. But so it was always between Roxy and Angie. I feel like that's just where the storyline is going. So I wonder if maybe because we got this kind of lip sync Smackdown in the semifinals of this, between Roxy and Angie, like was that the deciding moment, and maybe Angie doesn't make the top three anymore, or I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of scenarios that I'm playing out in my head that could potentially go down. um, I don't know. I think the overall suspense and overall drama is gone. I think it's Roxxxy Andrews with the crown, deservedly so. It's definitely been time throughout this whole season, but I would be okay seeing like a Shannel in the top three. Kind of the late game underdog comes into the picture at the very end. I wouldn't be too mad, especially with her performance in this episode with the lip syncs. If it was just based off of the back of like the Rusical performance, and then she gets given a badge because it looks like there's going to be some sort of voting situation. So if she was just like kind of given her way into the finale, it wouldn't be great. But I think with the lip sync SmackDown performance for Shannel, she's kind of earned her place in and amongst it, maybe with a chance to make it to the final. But I don't know. I just there's not much suspense in it for me. I think it's Roxy, and she'll be joined by two friends who will not be winning, but will get to get the crown in one of their tapings, so they they don't spoil it. But it's gonna be Roxy's crown. Like it can't go any other way. Knock on wood, so I'm not jinxing it, but I think that's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I think you're both right. I think I'm kind of on that same tree, which I'm very much so would be the best ending possible here. I've been a huge fan of Roxy Andrews. She was actually way back when I first started watching the show. I did watch season 4. I don't think I know I love Latrice, but I didn't really really get into any of the season 4 girlies as much. But season 5, Roxy was my queen. I was Team Relaxitops the entire way. So to see her now at this point, kind of like just go full 360 from being like that villain that just did or was looked upon as a villain that was just so talented that kind of maybe you know what's the word? Stifled a little bit of her talent and creativity in order to be a little bit more likable her next appearance until finally like evolving into like the final form where she's able to do both, be that sickening ass queen, but also give a little bit of sass too. It's such a great storyline for Roxy throughout her show here. So it would just be so amazing for her to crown it. And I think it would be the best ending to the entire season personally as well too. And just as a theory, I think those lip sync votings, since we're not officially getting like a lip sync battle for the She Done Already Has Hers thing, I think that's probably what the lip sync is going to be. Everybody's lip sync stick is in there, so I don't think it's going to be a situation where they're voting for like a tiebreaker. I think it's probably they're voting for fan favorite, French vanilla fan favorite, or whatever the hell they're giving away second place prize for. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out next week here. And look at that, the shortest podcast ever on this, under just in an hour. So, we'll go and we'll call it here. We have 2 more episodes left of the season, but y'all, podcasting will not be done. Don't you worry. We still have the mole finale, which we'll be podcasting tomorrow. We have Canada versus the World 2, which starts next week. We have Big Brother 26, which will be released next week, and we'll do a cast assessment whenever the fuck they decide to release the cast, even though the season starts literally in like 3 days. Like, when are we gonna learn these people? There's so much more content coming this summer, so make sure if you stood this long, y'all, first off, thank you. But make sure you drop a like and subscribe for more content. Lets us know that you're enjoying everything that we're doing here on the channel. And it also will make sure that you get all of the notifications for whenever a new video goes live. Also, be on the lookout because next week we'll be dropping a bunch of shorts going through the rest of All Stars 9, all their looks that we've ranked here, as well as some Canada versus the World 2 looks here that we'll be ranking as well. So, a lot of good stuff to be looking out for this summer and excited to share it with all of y'all. So, with that being said, y'all, on behalf of Jack and Whiskers tonight, I'm Renegade as always, and until next time, y'all benefactresses stay beautiful. Bye!
I
Goodbye.